Okay, here's a dirty concept for atheists. Recent scientific discovery and logic has led some scientists to be swayed by the idea that nothing, traditionally, what we mean by nothing, where there is nothing, the absence of things, is a state of existence that doesn't exist. Yeah? There's no such thing as nothing. As in, there is nowhere where there's nothing. So they've deduced that what the limit of what can be called nothing is actually empty space, and empty space has energy. Yeah, so it's not nothing. Energy that forms particles, virtual particles that can never be measured. So we have to have faith that that's true. That can never be measured. That pop in and out of existence, where nothing is actually energy that is dormant, that we can't see, or energy that cancels itself out. Now, I'm going to keep it scientific. I'm not saying I believe in that or not, but we'll go by what you're saying, what you're seeing, what you're deducing when you're looking. If nothing, the state of nothing, if the state of nothing doesn't exist, yeah, and you're someone who doesn't believe that there's life after death, then can you please explain to me, yeah, what state does consciousness go into after you die? Now remember, nothing doesn't exist. So you can't say there's nothing after death, because nothing, we've just agreed, if you're dealing with the latest scientific reasoning, that there's no such thing as nothing. So for you to say that there's nothing after death, after knowing that, we have a problem, don't we? So what happens to consciousness after death? We know it doesn't become nothing, because nothing doesn't exist. So I help you. I'm keeping with science. When you say you know something exists, there's two ways you can look at it. You can look at it what do you call it? Circumstantially. Yeah? We have circumstantial evidence. And then you have physical evidence. So when you say a proton exists, you can physically see that. When you say that light exists, as in photons exist, those ones you can't see, you have to deduce circumstantially. You can say an electron has lost a photon, so it's changed its orbital structure, or it's changed its orbit around the nucleus, or it's gained an electron, or it's gained a photon, so it's moved into a higher orbit. So this proves to you that packets of energy do exist, but you can't actually see a photon directly. You have to see the evidence it leaves behind. It's emergent, yeah? It's something you have to imagine to explain what's happening to things like electrons when they're going around the nucleus, yeah? So it's an emergent existence, but then so is consciousness. So we know that the emergent existence that we call energy, yeah, never experiences a state of nothingness, because nothingness doesn't exist. It goes into a state where it pops in and out of existence. Yeah. So is that what happens to consciousness? Yeah. When you die, yeah, when your consciousness reaches death, it doesn't go into nothingness because nothingness doesn't exist. And because it's emergent, you can't actually see consciousness directly. You have to see evidence of it from what people who are conscious is doing, and you deduce it that way. So it means that when you do die, since there's no nothingness, there is life after death. Okay, so I wanted atheists to think about what that means. Yeah, and I'll leave it open like that so that you can actually understand the gravity of the situation. Now that we've realized that there's no such thing as nothing, it means whatever is imagined would never actually die. Yeah, it just goes into a different state. It goes into an energy state below existence and can come in and out of existence. Yeah, and it has to cancel itself out. Yeah, so they went into this and they said there was an implicit layer where you can never know anything about, an explicit layer where you can start, where measurement starts. So where measurement stops, underneath that we don't know, and beyond that we can start to measure. Planck lengths are involved. So maybe consciousness goes into a state where you can't measure it, but it doesn't mean that it's not there. Yeah, so scientists have just proven by saying there's no such thing as nothing that there is life after death, as I've just explained. Now you as atheists, I want to see what you make of this. Yeah, it's interesting to me. It keeps my mind going, and that keeps it ticking, and it keeps it generating heat, which is good for my body. And essentially that's why thinking is there, just to heat up the organs, because you know your brain is the main heater in the body, isn't it? So the only reason why you think is to heat the organs. So this debating atheist is good for generating heat, I suppose. And that's about it. So anyway, just think about, if there's no nothing, it means that consciousness never becomes nothing, and if consciousness never becomes nothing, that means that when you die, your consciousness doesn't become nothing. That's not the end of the story. It doesn't end there. Your consciousness goes into another state.